The member for Pascoe Vale.
Thank you, Acting Speaker, and I'm delighted to rise and speak on this substantive motion that's been put by our side of the House in support of working from home. And I note the member for Brighton is leaving the chamber the moment that I rise. He's happy to dish it out, but he just can't take it, this guy. He can dish it out, he just can't take it at all. And what we heard there from the member for Brighton is just as important as what we didn't hear, because what he continued to say was supposedly the Liberal support working from home, the Liberal support working from home. But he left out the key words, the key phrases, which was, do the Liberal Party support legislating the right to work from home? That's what he didn't say. That's because they don't support legislating the right for work from home. That is why he's totally avoided the question. He's danced around the whole question and moved his amended motion. Now, just to be clear, this motion says that this House...
Excuse me, Pascoe Vale. A point of order. I call the member for Warrandyte.
Yeah. Thank you, Acting Speaker. To the motion at hand, there was no question posed in the motion. It's simply a sledge motion. There's no question for the Manager of Opposition Business to answer.
On the point of order, that we have a broad-ranging debate that includes the word sledge motion in it. So I'll ask the member for Pascoe Vale to continue.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. And the only ones that want to talk about sledging is the opposition. That's in their motion, not ours, because our motion, what it says is that this House condemns the opposition leader for failing to stop the Shadow Treasurer's reckless campaign for mandatory 5-day office return, B, condemn the Shadow Treasurer for spreading misinformation on working from home, which is exactly what he's been doing in his reply, and C, commit the Labor plan to legislate working from home as a right for Victorians. So that is what our motion is about. On this side of the House, we are very, very clear. We support the right for Victorians to have the legislated protections to work from home for at least 2 days per week. Okay, we are being very clear, we are being very open, we are being very transparent around our position, because we understand that supporting Victorians to work from home saves them time, it saves them money, and it certainly allows particularly parents to have more time to work flexibly, okay, to pick up the kids from school, from kinder, to go out on that, little shopping run down to Coles or to Woolies or the local IGA during the lunch break, to do the washing while you might be doing the Teams meeting at the same time. Whether you're a mum, whether you're a dad, working from home works for a lot of people. In my community of Pascoe Vale, Coburg and Brunswick West, we have some of the highest proportions of people who do work from home, working across all sorts of sectors, flexibly, happily. And they support that right to continue. They support that right to be legislated and protected. But they know very clearly that the Liberal Party do not support the right to legislate to protect working from home. And you don't just need to listen to the gibberish from the member for Brighton and what he didn't say in this chamber just now. All you need to look at is their federal colleagues. I mean, the federal campaign, we've had the Federal Party Liberal Review finally tabled in Parliament. The secret Liberal Party review that no one in the Liberal Party wanted to talk about was tabled by the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, and it made very clear some of the shocking policy calls and strategic calls that were made by the Liberals. One of those went to working from home. Peter Dutton, the failed opposition federal leader, wanted everyone to return back to the office. That was very clear. But they still support that position. He may be gone, and I acknowledge his departure. But the current federal deputy leader of the Liberal Party, Senator Jane Hume, is a senator of Victoria, she was the one leading that charge for people to return to the office 5 days a week full time. The current deputy leader supports the abolition of working from home. The federal Liberals have no interest as the deputy leader currently in that chair, in that position, campaigned on during the election. But it's also the member for Brighton's federal colleague, the member for Goldstein, the now Shadow Treasurer. He was the one who wasn't he the guy, if we all remember, that said, it's modern day apartheid. Working from home is creating a modern day apartheid. This is their current, not previous, this is not Peter Dutton we're talking about who's left the Parliament, this is the current federal Shadow Treasurer, Tim Wilson, the member for Goldstein, Liberal member for Goldstein, the federal member for the area where the member for Brighton is the state member. He is fighting the campaign to get rid of working from home.
I call the member for Sandringham on a point of order.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. As the member for Pascoe Vale's right. He has raised a number of points of order relating to relevance. The member for Pascoe Vale is addressing matters pertaining to federal members of parliament and the federal parliament, which I don't believe are consistent with the motion that the House is considering, and I'd ask you to draw the member for Pascoe Vale back to the motion.
It is a very broad-ranging debate, and we've seen that through the member for Brighton's contribution on this matter. So I'll ask the member for Pascoe Vale to continue.
Thank you, Acting Chair. But look, if the state Liberals don't want me to talk about the federal Liberal opposition to working from home, that's fine. That's fine. Why don't we then turn back to, of course, the state Liberals? Because the big missing piece in all this is, what does the current Liberal opposition leader believe when it comes to working from home? We have heard nothing at all about the opposition Liberal leader coming out to say, I haven't seen the press release, I haven't seen the member statement or the adjournment or the constituency question, for the Liberal state leader, currently the state Liberal leader, coming out to say, yes, the Liberal opposition, national opposition here, support our plan to legislate the right to work from home 2 days a week. She has been totally silent. And is it because the Liberal opposition leader used to actually work for the Business Council, which is the cheerleading organisation that is fighting against our Labor government's plan to legislate the right to working from home? Is there a bit of a conflict of interest there, or is there a bit of a clue potentially in terms of her thinking and where her head is at in terms of this issue? And that is why they're being so tricky. And the member for Brighton, he should write the next version of Kama Sutra, to be honest with you. The amount of positions he has taken when it comes to working from home is just, he's got a hide on him, I tell you. He's got a hide on him to come in this place and claim that they support working from home. They support working from home. Let's leave out the legislation part, right? That's the part that's going to protect it for working people. Because whether it's working from home or on so many other big picture items that our Labor government has been progressing, the Liberals have just always opposed it. They start off criticising whatever our proposal is. We then progress the proposal, we implement it, we deliver it. They criticise it all the way through and beyond. So if you had the Liberals in office since 2014, none of the major things we have delivered would have ever come close to being delivered. And we saw that during the Baillieu years during 2010 and 2014. And just look at the list of things we have delivered, and they have opposed every step of the way. And working from home is just the latest chapter in that Kama Sutra edition book for the member for Brighton. The big infrastructure bill, the Westgate Tunnel they opposed, the Metro Tunnel project, they opposed. Those two major infrastructure projects that we've opened end of last year, and that never would have been delivered under the Liberals. The education state, we are opening 100 new schools in this state. And a tremendous milestone. 50% of the newest schools across the country have been opened in Victoria. When they were in office during the Kennett years, they closed 12 schools across my community of Marybeck. Unforgivable. Our community will never forget. They closed the original Coburg High, Newlands High, all 12 local schools they closed and decimated. The new hospitals, the Footscray Hospital never would have been delivered. The Joan Kerner Hospital, the Frankston Hospital, the list goes on and on. Each and every one of our cost of living measures, they have not committed to this very day to say that a Liberal Party, where's the member for Brighton's statement saying the Liberal Party supports the retention of free kinder? The Liberal Party supports the $100 energy bonus. The Liberal Party supports free public transport for young people and seniors. They don't say these things because they don't believe them, and they will cut them. Major policy reforms, industrial manslaughter, legislating wage theft, major reforms that they talk about claiming to be on the side of working people. Every major reform we've introduced in this place to protect the rights and conditions of working people, they fought against and campaigned against. The same with housing. We want to put more young people into housing. And what do? The first major policy announcement from the current Liberal opposition leader is to slash 300,000 proposed homes in the activity centres. They want to abolish our proposed activity centres, including in Coburg, Brunswick and Sydney Road in my community. They oppose Plan for Victoria, the housing statement and the big social housing build as well, which is the biggest social community housing pipeline in the country. We had the recent bushfires and natural disasters, yet Every measure we take to try and combat climate change, they oppose. We've brought back the State Electricity Commission. They sold it off and they privatised it. The member for Narragansett knows that. He knows that. And if they ever got back in, they'd sell it off again. And Acting Speaker, in concluding, the reality is working from home is just the latest chapter in that whole debate where Labor stands on the side of working people and the Liberals want to cut, slash and burn.